Welcome back to Real People, Real Life TV, coming to you from Wichita, Kansas, America. I'm Woody Middlefinger, a.k.a. David Heffelfinger. This is my left-hand man, Mike Furches, talking with two guests today.
You had a question for Ethan. We're talking about photography and so forth. Go ahead. And we want to talk through the break sometimes. We've got to save it for the segments. Go for it, though.
Ethan, I'm curious as to... we talked equipment in the last segment. Now I'd like to go to what you're filming. What catches your eye? Why? Symmetry, asymmetry, the colors, contrast, similarities. Break that out for me.
It could be any given time in any given place. You can find something that, if it catches your eye in a way. For me, I take a picture. That's why I bring it with me everywhere I go, because you never know when it's going to happen. And usually it's things that I feel, I'll take pictures of things I feel like other people should see, to me. Like if it has any kind of, if it's beautiful and can inspire another person to look for that kind of thing, then that's what I'm trying to go for. I'm trying to show people there's beauty all around us, all the time. You just have to take the time to absorb it and appreciate it for what it is. I have a picture that I had over 1,000 shares on Facebook, and it was just a cotton plant at sunset with just the sun sitting right behind the piece of cotton. Something that simple, but for some reason it warms people. That was one of the biggest things. Was this is such a warming picture. I feel warm and comfortable looking at this, and I can't really say, because I can't really define what it is that I'm looking for. There's just certain things I see, and it's like I said, it's the little things that a lot of people don't appreciate, I guess, is what I try to show. And I think lately I've been doing a lot more elaborate stuff that isn't really natural lighting, things like that. And I have them in the pictures with the flash drives, but long exposure shots, seeing the galaxy rising up from the horizon, nothing you'd ever see with the naked eye. So with your question is, how can you take a picture of something that isn't even there? That's when it's all creativity and art. I've done a lot of light painting portraits, which right now, to my knowledge, I'm one of the only people in this area that does light painting portraits.
What is a light painting?
A light painting portrait, for example, would be in this room completely pitch black. And you'd be standing in one spot, and I'd have you hold still. You'd have to hold as still as possible for 15 seconds, let's say. And I'd take a light, a small LED, and I'd go from the camera, so from the lens, and start painting around you. And you're doing all of that.
You're doing all that digitally.
I'm doing all of that. Well, you can do it with film too. Picasso was one of the first people to do light painting, and Picasso has phenomenal light painting work. And I actually didn't find that out until about a week ago, but I kind of taught myself this. I taught myself how to do light painting, and I decided I'm going to try and do a portrait with it. And this guy, Jordan Knowles, he was kind enough to be the first volunteer basically for me. And I did a light painting around him, and then the last 2 seconds before the shutter closed, to shine the light on him. So when the image comes out, it's all dark. All you see is him, and then light just streaking everywhere.
And again, we can. So if someone's watching, and they want to see some of this, they can again go to Facebook.
Yep. You can go to my Facebook. EthanBates.
Do you have a website yet?
No, I told you I'm building on that right now, because I'm waiting on travels. I was supposed to be in Thailand right now, actually in Phuket, Thailand, and a buddy of mine tore his meniscus out there, so plans were delayed.
Any other questions as far as related to that, or follow up, Woody?
The light thing. So you will see every trail of the light, because it's a still now, right?
It's
We're talking about.
Yep, it's a still.
So every place the light had been shows up on the finished.
Every streak, every little thing. There's some times where if a little light leaks out, you can even see me, and I look like a ghost. So obviously I edit that out, but it's...
Or you could leave something like that in and sell it as a ghost photograph.
I actually have photos where... I actually have some portraits where I have a ghost photo where I'll have a girl sitting in an abandoned home or something like that. She'll be looking one way, then looking right at me, and then look the other way, and it looks like she's a ghost. I mean, it's just... It's different tricks with photography, and not being traditionally trained. I don't have anybody pointing me in a direction or telling me how to do it, so I'm teaching myself. I'm looking at work and try to reproduce it, and in the meantime, teach myself how to do it.
Let's shift gears a little bit.
Okay.
You're making a living.
Mm-hmm.
Now you walk from 70,000. I understand that, and yeah, if you're doing something you don't want to spend your life at, then the number is irrelevant.
Mm-hmm.
You have to do what you want to do. But so where is the demand for what you're doing now? You're not doing birthday parties or weddings, I don't think.
No, I've done a couple weddings. They're all right. I try to honestly steer away from the portrait photography. It's nice for income, but there's so much cookie cutter portrait photography that goes on. That's why I've tried to really steer away from doing that. That's why I do the unique portrait light paintings and stuff in. I just had a shoot with a young lady from Texas. She actually drove all the way up here to do a shoot with me in a sunflower patch, and did a shoot with her with lights in her hands. I mean, just unique style portraits. I try to avoid the cookie cutter family senior portraits, things like that.
Nothing against those types of
No,
photographers.
not at all. Not
but
at
you're
all.
but you're an artist. I mean, there's a difference between an artist, an artistic mindset, a creator, as opposed to someone that's just trying to. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's some great portrait photographers in the area that I've worked with personally, but we're talking about two totally different types of photography here.
Yes, but artists too have to eat.
That's right. That's
and
right.
the entire artist industry seems to be on.
I sell a lot of prints out of Europe. Most of my prints go to Europe. That picture with the lightning bolt and the flag, for instance, I've already made be about $1,500 now off of that, just from prints alone. And most of them are going
Tell us about that print, because it's doing quite well right now as far as
yes. Yeah, I mean,
it's trending on social media and so forth.
I woke up at 6:15 in the morning, heard thunder, and I was like, oh God, I left my car windows down. So I woke up immediately, and I went outside, and there's a thunderstorm rolling in, and my younger brother woke up, and I said, dude, let's just chill out here and watch this thunderstorm. And out of probably 100 and some pictures I took, as soon as I got that picture of this lightning bolt streaking right out of the tip of a flag, our American flag hanging up on our porch, I was like, oh my gosh, I just got something huge right here. And I didn't even realize it until I uploaded it when it took off that it was. I mean, it was just one of those shots that you're going to see for years. You're just kind of constantly circulating, because it was just a very, very lucky shot. People that have even asked me, I said I was just very lucky. I mean, I knew my settings, had everything right. It was very lucky.
The average family's buying in Europe, or is there something in Europe I'm not thinking about?
I think that in Europe it's more businesses, because a lot of the work that I sell here locally goes in doctors' offices, buildings that were like apartment buildings,
Lobbies.
things like that. Yeah, that stuff that will just kind of offset the mood of the bland walls or whatever is going on in their lobby. And it's like I told you, I try to capture things that have a mood to it in a way. Like people said they're comfortable or warming. I try to make all of my pictures you get a sense of something from it. And another thing too was captioning. And I've been contacted from other photographers. Hey, can you help me think of a caption for this? Because I've learned from my own experience, captioning really sets the mood for the picture. You put the right caption, you send the people into a mindset of what they're about to watch. And like that picture with the lightning bolt and the flag, could have captured that a million things, but I chose "When Freedom Strikes," and that's you say that and you see it, and that's exactly what you think, and it's just how it works.
I got a buddy
go ahead.
he does weather photography. Dory Hayes, a buddy of mine in the area as well. And I've tried it. It's a whole different thing. I mean, if someone's wanting to do some photography, weather, lightning type shots, that type of thing, what are some tips that you would give in that regard that people need to be aware of?
If you're wanting to shoot lightning, it's anywhere from let's just use point and shoot to a cell phone. You're gonna want to shoot in high speed. You're gonna want to pick a spot. And you do not watch it through the phone or the camera. You watch it with the naked eye, and you just wait. And you wait, and as soon as you see it, you hit, and just.
Would you recommend a tripod to where you're using a switch or?
You can.
I mean, because I imagine if I'm taking it, I'm going to shake or something. I'm taking.
But that's the thing. If the shutter speed has to be so fast to catch the lightning that your own movement, it won't even come into play. I didn't use a tripod for any of the lightning shots I've ever done.
You're talking about high speed. What kind of aperture or speed are you talking about there?
Shutter speed, you want to shoot for lightning. I mean, you want to shoot 1/25,000th of a second, 1/4000th of a second. You're gonna have the sharpest, but it's got to be dead of night to catch that. Obviously, the higher your shutter speed, the darker the image is going to be. So you've got to compensate for that as well. And you're only going to be able to control that through like a DSLR, like these two. Through your cell phone or a point and shoot, all you can do is just switch high or high frame. I think on cell phones, if you have a camera that can shoot slow-mo video, that's another great way to do it to capture lightning.
So you do a slow-mo video and then you'd pull the photo off of that video.
If you wanted to do, if you wanted to pull the photo frame from that, that's how you would do it, because it's, like I said, it's hard.
And will the phones have the right pixel count for that frame to?
Oh yeah, you can have a good pixel count. Like I said, whenever you run into the pixel count is when it comes down to printing. So you see stuff, like they say 18 megapixel camera. All that really relates to is if you wanted to print this picture, this is how big you can print it. That's all it comes down to.
And so if you're using, say, a good cell phone, an iPhone or something of that nature, what type of resolution will you get, or how large a photograph will be able to print?
I believe the iPhones are 18 megapixels right now, but I don't use an iPhone.
How about something like an Android or something of that nature? Do you know?
I think they're 12 to 16. I think my cell phone shoots 12 to 16, and you can do work like that, just like that with those.
If a person wants to buy some photography from EthanBates, what's it going to generally cost them?
Depending on the print size, I normally sell them for like $25 to $30 a piece. But even with that being said, I've run them limited. I don't just sell out thousands of copies of one thing. I only sell 50 of a certain one or 100 of another, and they're all signed by me and numbered. So
you want to get them early before the name gets so big that you can't afford it.
Yeah, because they literally sell out, and I end up having to. I have actually taken some and done like a re-edit, turn them black and white. Tell people I can't give you any color versions of this, but I'll give you a black and white version and cheaper price.
Okay. You're watching Real People, Real Life. Our guest today is EthanBates. We'll be right back after this segment, and I want to talk some about walking us through how to use what we got for some of our viewers and us too. So we'll be right back with you.
I have some questions too.
Yeah.